recording on. Sorry about that. I can redo that first part so other people who aren't here can do it. Okay, so let me make sure it's on. Do you guys see a red dot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hard for me to see it with the screen share. Okay, great. Who is that? Rico. Okay. Okay, anybody else mental? So we can have thoughts, we can have emotional feelings, and we can have sensations in our body. Okay. So being aware of when you're under attack, being aware of what's happening. Just being aware, okay? And then did you feel that the tendency was for there to be an upward movement away from, yeah. Okay, you see, it's kind of subtle, isn't it? But when energy actually goes up when we're under attack, it goes up and out. We want to do something. We want to run away, fight or flight, or we want to fight back. Okay, and then there's a spectrum of reactions all in between. Okay, so this is what we practice in Aikido. We do it with everything, you know, grabs, chokes, pushes, strikes. We use weapons on each other. You know, all of that is just designed to help us learn how to be relaxed, grounded, centered, and having our ki flowing and extending when we're being attacked, when we're under pressure. But you can see people could say bad things to us easily, right? We're maybe not going to get attacked with a punch or a strike very often, if ever. But people saying things or even ignoring, being kind of somebody say not paying attention to you can be a stress, right? So anything that you just become aware of your sensations, emotions, and thoughts. Okay, we'll get more into that, but the whole idea is to quiet the mind, quiet the body, and then the mind will quiet, and then the soul will be more, and the soul could be like this energetic realm. Did you want to say something, Sangeeta? You good?
Okay.
Okay, so grounding. This is a picture of me throwing a 280-pound guy.
Wow.
In the dojo years ago. You know, this is our old school. So grounding, you know, Aikido is very good for small people. They can learn to use the person, no matter how big they are, how strong they are. You can use their strength actually, not against them, but they're easier to throw actually if they're off balance. That's the idea. You can start to feel where these big people are off balance and you let them go that way. Okay. Now, I like this picture because it's so, these are two little kids doing sumo wrestling. And it's all about getting really heavy, right? To be a sumo wrestler. That's why they get fat, they get big. They're muscly too, but so they're trying to unground each other and push each other down. We call it in Aikido weight underside. And we're going to work with this after we do our warm up. So let's do a little warm up, okay? So the warm ups are just intended to give you a feeling of the energy of the principles of Aikido, and also start to get into some of the ways we do techniques. Okay, so I'll stop screen sharing. Okay. So let's make sure let's see, go back a little bit more. You have plenty of space, you're not running into anything. Everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
So bring your feet about shoulder width apart. Bend the knees a little bit. Make sure you have space all around. Okay. Just bring your hands right on right below your belly button. Close your eyes a minute. We'll just take a couple of deep breaths, connecting with our breath. Remember the light, slow, deep. That's where we For now, just feeling the breath flowing in and out. Let it get deeper with each inhalation and exhalation. Get fuller. Feel if you just feel a natural settling down. Okay. So let's just take the hands out to the side and we're gonna bend the knees, breathe in. This is that pulling the, connecting with the heaven, and draw as if you're drawing that heaven energy down into our body, all the way to the feet. Bend the knees and inhale, come up. That connection to the sky, pull it down through the body. If you're sort of flushing out any tiredness of the day, inhale, stand up and sink down, connect to the earth. Feel that tiredness, that old energy flow into the earth. Come up to the sky, bring in some new energy, down into the ground. If you only have like a minute to get centered, to get grounded, this is a good one. All right, now we're going to do a little different breathing than the last week. Last week we did fire breathing. So you let your arms extend to the side like this. Your legs, your knees are, hi Sneha. Okay, so extending to the side. Bend the knees, drop the arms and turn. So your left hand goes to the right or right hand to the left, okay? Yeah. And the back hand is in the opposite direction. So you come back to the center and come up and then bend the knees and drop and turn. And see my back hand is sweeping to the back. So you come, there's like a little up-down movement and a turning movement and an extending movement. So it's inhale up, drop, turn. So both hands are sweeping. You're kind of sweeping the energy in the back and the energy in the front. You're going to pick up the pace when you feel comfortable with this. Inhale up, drop, exhale down. Inhale up, drop, exhale down. Going to pick up the pace a little bit, get a little rhythm. And start to let your arms be a little more relaxed and swingy. Okay? Inhale, exhale out. Inhale, let your arms come up. Exhale as they go out to the side. Feel that rhythm, that pulsing of the knees. And you're just rotating your hips like we did last week, turning. We're not leaning. We're just turning around our center, dropping down. So you can get that flow going, that continuous flow. There's no stopping. It's just a nice flowy rhythm. Swinging the arms, relaxing them. This is like a clearing, a cleansing breath. Now look in the direction your front hand is extending. And see if you can have a feeling of extending farther without trying, without effort. Just extending a little bit more out there. You see, and the energy goes there. Now slowly come to a stop. And just feel if your energy is flowing a little bit more. Knees are a little bent. Feel your heart if it's beating a little faster. And now let's do a little bit of hip rotating like we did last week. We're going to add an extra movement to this. Just feeling the circle your hips make. Your knees are a little bent. Let it get a little bit bigger. Even if you have to bend forward to go farther back and bend back to go farther forward. Being careful if you have any problems with your back. Let's go the other way. Big circle, as big as you can comfortably make it. And now let the circle get a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller. And just sort of feel your circle, your hips are making a tiny circle around an imaginary center, deep in the pelvis. This whole pelvis is our center. It's our belly. We're going to get a lot more into this next week. Okay. Now, we also did this rotating. We circle the hips and we rotate. So feel that rotation, and we're going to make a figure 8 out of these two movements. Okay? So by combining circles and rotations, we can make a figure 8 with our, everybody knows what a figure 8 is, right? Actually, people who do belly dancing, which I think is that comes from your neck of the woods over there in Dubai, right? They really do a lot of this circling, so figure 8ing of the hips. I actually learned this from a belly dancer, and I thought it was such a nice centering practice. So if you take the circle, here I'm kind of making a circle with my left hip, and then I make a circle with my right hip. So I'm doing left hip, right hip. So you're sort of circling and rotating, circling. But instead of just going from side to side, you do the left hip and then go back, circle around on the right side. Go back, circle around on the left. Can you feel that figure 8? You guys? Good. Okay, figure 8. So you're making making this movement. Right? So if you let your hands describe what you feel in your hips, see if you feel, you can see that figure 8. You can make your stance a little wider if you want, shifting to one side, shifting to the other side. Feel the hip on one side and then the hip on the other, but you're looping it around so it's a continuous infinity symbol. That's what they call it also. Figure 8 is infinity symbol. Okay, these are movements that we do in Aikido. These figure 8s, these waves. Okay, now let's just go back to circling the hips and let the arms follow your circle. And circle the other way. Keep your knees a little bent. Now let's let it turn into a spiral. So you circle by bending the knees, you circle down and circle back up. And circle down and circle back up. Okay? Okay, pause right there with your hands. So I'm just letting my hands and arms relax. And then I'm letting my hip circles move my hands. Okay, so you can make circles. You can turn the circle into a spiral by going up and down. Up, down. But the idea when you practice this is to feel that the movement is coming from your hips, the movement of your hips. Arms are not separate. We do a lot of work on this idea of connection in Aikido class, okay? So I'm just kind of giving you ideas for good warm-ups that are fun. They're not just like calisthenics. They actually get you flowing in your body. And I'm seeing how everybody's doing. Okay. Okay, I want you to stand in a wide stance now, so you can play with the circles, but remember, always start with the hips, the center of the body. So wide stance, bend the knees. We call this a square stance. Now let your arms, I call this hugging a tree with movement. You know that hugging a tree pose that they do in Chinese martial arts, Qigong and stuff. Okay, but we're going to do it with movement. So here's what it looks like. You bring your hands in, breathe in, open the chest, sink down and circle around. That's when you breathe out. So you breathe in, open the chest, sink down and circle around. Breathe. This is a kind of a slow motion movement. Sink down, circle around like you're hugging a tree. Open through the ribs. Sink down into a little bit deeper squat. It's a deep, sustained breath. Full breath out, slowly as your hands come together. Full breath in as your hands come towards your chest. Keep going. I'm going to look at you guys. It's like you're doing a big, hugging a big, open the chest. Good. Okay, let's keep in our wide stance. I'm going to do a little bit more kind of grounding. So we're gonna start this slow. So you're gonna come up, down, up, down. So when you come up, your arms come down. You make a little soft fist. Okay, and then down, like you're standing in a strong stance, grounded stance. So you do that when you lift the knee down. Lift the knee down, and we want to try to control it. Occasionally it might be a little off balance and your leg just falls, but we want to try to like lift, then put it down. Lift, put it down. Okay, feel you're in control. Earth energy is very controlled. We're talking about ground today, Sneha, working on ground. Now try walking. And walking back. You can add a twist to it. And a twist with a walk. Now pause. Feel your legs. Let your hands relax. Feel a little bit more down there in your legs and hips. Your ground. Okay, so grounding is everything It's about energy going down. Now we're not going putting energy down yet, but you can feel the muscles and the hips, the thighs and the feet and stuff, and the calves. Okay. Okay. We're going to do this one in place. Now these are really good exercises if you have a lot of nervous energy, anxiety, to help you release some of that energy and ground it. It's also pretty good for anger, because angry energy is fiery and it wants to go out at something. Just can be destructive if it's not channeled. So you ground that energy. Okay, so here's a good one. Get a wide stance. Now we're going to punch down. Okay, so so it'll be like, and we're going to make a little sound. And the gut sound, ground sound is, one of them is, huh. It's a ooh with a huh, okay? Huh. Huh. See what I'm doing? I'm spiraling my fists and punching into the ground. Huh. 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 Now pause for a second. You want to keep your back straight. You want the up and down to just come from this squatting and standing, okay? So it isn't this. You keep this open and you, so just like when we made our figure 8, it comes from the hips. Same here, this down comes from the hips. And then when you come up, you let your arms sort of like springs coil up again. See what I'm doing? I'm staying really nice and like those sumo kids. Now pause and just feel your body. Feel more power, a little more powerful, a little stronger, more. Okay, now I studied a little bit of Sanskrit mantra shastra, and the hu sound is a sound for sweeping away, for cleansing. You know, hu. And then in Japanese martial arts, it's about, you know, connecting with the gut energy, the intestinal energy, okay? Which I thought was kind of an interesting connection. You know, in the mantras in the Sanskrit, the hu, you know, they use hu or hum to sweep things away when you're, you know, like evil things, bad things. Okay. Okay, so we did the twisting last week. We don't need to do that now, but let's do this. A little bit more connecting to the earth. Just standing with your feet normal. We're going to shift the weight, sort of peel off your foot and consciously place it down like you're taking a step forward. Okay? And then you peel up the back foot, lift it up, slowly step through, putting it down from the heel to the ball of feet to the toes and shift the weight. I don't know if y'all can see me now. Okay, so I call this just slow ground walking. So you're just taking a regular walk, slowing it way down. And because you have to balance on one leg when you're making the transition, you have to be grounded, right? You place the heel down first, roll through the front foot as the back foot peels off. And the front foot takes your weight as you transition to shifting to the other foot coming forward and becoming the front foot. So there's always this rolling feeling through the foot. You heel, ball of the foot toe as the back foot peels up. If you feel comfortable going forward, you could try it walking back. You can add your slow nose breathing if you're.
SueAnn,
Yes, ma'am.
when you're walking behind, also do you land on your heel?
It's exactly the same way. Oh, when you step back, you put the toes first, then the ball of the foot, then the heel, and the other foot, the front foot is peeling up, right? From the toes to the heel. Then you lift it up. Let me see if let's see if I can make this more clear. Can you guys see my feet? I put it. Can you see my feet okay?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so it's like heel to toes, lift, heel to ball the foot to toes, and the back foot is peeling up. And then when it gets to the toes, I lift my leg, place it down, heel, ball the foot, toe. See, so like I'm rolling forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You get that? Okay, I'm going to watch you guys and see how you're doing. Let your arms relax, Lauren. Imagine you're reaching out and getting that connection to the ground with your arms, with your hands. That'll help your balance.